Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Harlequin here today with OlBloodNGutz, and this is going to be another Newbie Tuesday game on the wonderful chitinous protuberances of the Leviathan Hive jungle, as you can see out here on the side of the map. OlBloodNGutz. Today's game includes a Chaos Lord. I know you were a Chaos Lord player pretty mainly there.
Yeah, he's very near to my heart. Before I started playing random, it was him and Mech Boy, so I definitely love Chaos Lord games.
Yeah, and Mech Boy, too. Yeah, Mech Boy is another one I get a lot of requests for out there. But yeah, Chaos Lord, he's a beater. So today, on the lower left-hand side, playing as the bright... I hate it. This always happens when I do replays. He's bright red in terms of the color of his units, but he's actually blue on the minimap. Is going to be Mr. Sigma19 as the Chaos Lord. And his opponent today is going to be the Commissar Lord, MrRakky. Red on the minimap, black on the game map. But yeah, so what are your feelings about just kind of, tell me a little bit about your own style of Chaos Lord play. Like, how would you normally go about this matchup in terms of build orders and whatnot?
Well, typically I would go for double CSM whenever I'm going against IG, just for the anti-sentinel power, as well as powering through the guardsmen themselves. And I would make it a priority to get the Combi Flamer on my Chaos Lord immediately, just to help with kiting, just add that range damage so they can't run away from me. So general build order as far as going into T2 would be a Blood Crusher just to force AV on them, and go into a combination of Bloodletters and Plague Marines, as they're pretty well against squishy IG infantry and gives you probably the most solid AV in the game. Nice.
That sounds like a plan to me. And we can see that Sigma19 is already on the way to that. So let's go ahead and get this replay started here. So, yep, I'm going to go ahead and give it a countdown here. 3, 2, 1, click. And we are off here. So, looking around, Chaos Space Marines first, double guardsmen out there.
Something I always like to see in the beginning of a Chaos Lord play is just a quick worship, just a slingshot a Chaos Lord out there. I don't think Sigma's doing that here, but it's something for some Chaos Lord players to consider.
Yeah, just I heard you point that out before.
Guy out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of fire him off, and because the heretics are speedy enough on their own. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty good, and we can see already there comes that Sentinel right now. So I'm just kind of spreading out and capping here.
Yeah, a bit of a misclick on Sigma's side. He's not capping that power node yet. He kind of just sits there. That's something you want to watch for.
Don't.
I mean, yeah, when you start out, you're not really microing much. You give an order and you go on to do something else. And by the time you're done with that, why not check on your first unit to make sure the order's being followed through? Something I always suggest for my mentees or anyone else looking to learn.
Good call there. By the way, you mentioned something to me, and I might as well mention it in the video. What was the advanced tooltips mod you were telling me about?
That's a mod by one of our community members, Colaris, that pretty much details every tooltip in the game. So when you look over your units, it's not going to say Guardsman is good versus infantry or some other, archaic, could mean anything crap. It's going to tell you exactly does this much damage of this damage type, can be upgraded with this. It'll tell what each ability does, what each war gear does. It's easily the most important mod you can have in this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna be grabbing that and using that in some of my future replays for sure. But yeah, that's a good piece of advice right there for anybody interested in that sort of thing. Taking a look around right now, we can see the Sentinel is trying to get some backcapping going on. Luckily, there is this one squad of Chaos Space Marines out there, but no sign of anything else yet. It looks like Sigma has opted instead to upgrade his power node rather than getting a second CSM squad.
Yeah, looking for a quick tech to a T1.5 perhaps, or maybe even a war gear. Yeah, the Sentinel's doing a pretty good job of backcapping, but the CSMs are just following far too close, making his job a bit too hard.
Yeah, and you can really see the damage that the CSMs can do versus it. It's already well below half hit points right there, getting down to a quarter hit points almost. And, oh, we had some fast grenade launchers on the Heretics, too. That's what else was going on there. And also some fast flamethrowers on the Guardsmen as well.
Yeah, the Sentinel's overextending. He should not have been staying in this fight.
Yeah.
He should have started walking back to base pretty much immediately.
Oh, and instantly taken out. That was just too much of a liability right there. I'm guessing here that MrRakky had in mind a really quick gen bash or something like that. He obviously had flamers. He had his army right about here.
Yeah, but seems to be the intention.
Yeah, it looks like Sigma just kind of dealt with it, honestly. He didn't even take that much damage.
Yeah, it looks like Chaos has a mostly full gen farm, -1. Definitely has a tech advantage in that regard.
And I see a
Where's
Commissar
Mr.
Lord lying prone here on the floor next to a slightly wounded Chaos Lord, so perhaps that was going on in the middle of that fight as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a heavy weapons team coming out from MrRakky. It's a pretty interesting choice, especially considering he already knows the Chaos player has grenade launchers, so that heavy weapons team is countered before it's even being built.
Yeah, I kind of wonder, perhaps he just kind of... I honestly would like to just ask these players, like, what were they thinking? Because I don't necessarily think it's like a... I don't know. It's not like, what are you thinking? That's the worst thing ever. But, like, it's just like, is there something that you're trying to prevent? Is there something you're going for? Because on paper, it definitely looks like a bad move.
Yeah, sometimes they have a reason for it, for what's happening around them, and sometimes they kind of go in with a plan and stick to it regardless of what's happening, which is something you want to stay away from.
Because, yeah, that was kind of what I was wondering. Is like, oh, I always get Guardsman, Sentinel, Guardsman, Heavy Bolter team. That, you know, against most matchups, that works pretty well. Okay.
Yeah.
The Chaos Lord here having to beat a hasty retreat or a very slow retreat, depending on the Chaos Lord's speed there. Looks like the Commissar Lord was bought back and is back in action. Now, this is where I'm starting to worry about Sigma right now. Sigma19, still no additional units out there. He definitely has enough for a second squad of CSMs. He's still saving up power, saving up rec, and only 2 units on the field right now. I'm just frankly surprised he has this much control of the map using only 2 units.
Yeah, very true. I mean, the early hero kill definitely set MrRakky behind, and I believe he just did a little bit of scouting. The CSMs were on that corner by the power farm. He knows that the other node was off, and he knows there's only 1 generator on this power farm, so he knows he's got quite a bit of a tech advantage. And so I think he's
just doing a great job defending here. Like, he picked a really good defensive spot. It looked like MrRakky tried to kind of force his way in. The CSM stood up front and just tanked it, and their grenades just went to town. And once again, we see him just going straight to Tier 2 with 2 units on the field. I'm always amazed that can work out. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I mean, proper scouting and an early squad kill can pretty much guarantee that that works.
Nice.
It's not too risky. If you know that the other guy's short on power and then he had to spend a certain amount of requisition to replace a squad or a hero, you're pretty safe to do it.
Here we can see a little bit of that, and that was kind of interesting right there. He used the executability on his heavy weapons team that was busy suppressing that CSM squad right there. Yeah,
that's actually quite a good combo. Definitely helps the damage at extreme range.
Yeah, you can see it just really, really chewed into that squad as a result of that. But now, just as you called it, here comes that grenade barrage right on top of the heavy weapons team.
That's actually something I would advise against if you're on the retreat. You don't want to put that thing on cooldown, because right now, let's just say MrRakky sits on his power with the heavy weapons team and flamers were closer than they are currently. He wouldn't be able to counter right away. He'd have to wait for the cooldown to go down. So I usually advise, same thing with Catechin's Old Reliable. Don't blast a heavy weapons team or a squad that you don't need to blast, because you may find you need it later on.
Now, is this a little overkill, in your opinion here, getting 6 generators at this point?
Absolutely.
Given his power level?
As Chaos in particular, the Chaos economy pretty much has you floating power even with just 1 gen farm and, let's say, an extra node. Getting 2 full gen farms, you're going to see him floating massive amounts of power and being short on requisition through most of the game. It's, yeah, definitely overkill.
But we do get to see the fast Blood Crusher here. So again, common theme I notice. You see it at all levels of play, honestly, because the Blood Crusher is good. But just relying on trying to see if I can just win the game with the Blood Crusher right off the bat. But honestly, unlike the last replay we saw, he's actually got it out there pretty quickly here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a knee-jerk reaction. Okay, I'm in T2. Now what do I get? He's actually got a purpose for it.
Yeah, and as you can see, Rakky has got no Tier 2, so that could be pretty uncountered.
I want to point out what we just saw a second ago was the grenade barrage followed by the worship. He had a good thing going on. The whole idea is to barrage the heavy weapons team, get it to unset up, and then bullwhip your CSMs into melee with them using worship. But he stopped halfway through and just started shooting with the CSMs. Bad move. Just let them reset up and kind of ruined his advantage.
And it looked like, again, that heavy weapon squad was, he executed it a second time maybe. To get that extra damage out of it, because they had that little glow around them. Yeah. And there are 2 members too. But yeah, now we get to see the Commissar Lord, by the way, with that power sword. Just like to point that out to the people
I'd
out there.
also like to point out bottom south right now at that victory point. This Flamer squad had actually been sitting there for maybe 30 seconds before this. If you're going for a Ninja Gen Harass with your Flamer squad, don't stop to cap the nearest point, because you're just saying, hey, look at me, I got flamethrowers, I'm on the way to your generators. You want to go there, try to torch as many as you can, and then get out. Don't stop to, you know, smell the roses, so to speak.
By the way, any idea what's going on up here with this Blood Crusher?
Let's see.
He seems to be
posing.
Is he just hanging out?
Yeah, just
It
chilling.
looks like
not
he's
really
fighting
doing
almost, but
anything.
yeah, he's just okay. He's totally AFK there, maybe.